Welcome back to Brisbane for another walk and talk in the middle of Test Week. Wednesday today here in Brisbane. The Lions and the Wallabies, neither of them have any kind of media duties. So therefore it's a day off, it's a chance for a walk and talk, and it's absolutely glorious. Look at it. What a beauty. Welcome back to the channel. Comment section, that's where you can have your say on anything we touch upon in the build up to the first test. A few little talking points to go through actually today, a few bits of news to bring you up to date with, so I'll get into all of that. Comment down below, like the video, and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel and you will not miss a thing. So let's see where we end up. I don't know where I'm walking. At the moment I'm in the Botanical Gardens here, but we'll go for a little stroll and see where we end up. So first news of the day is actually related to the Wallabies, and it's a story that came out in the Australian press yesterday, and that is that Tom LYNAGH is due to start at 10 in the first test. The teams are officially going to be announced on Thursday, but that's what the Australian media have got a hold of, which is really fascinating. If it's true, which I think it probably is, these guys wouldn't have run the story if that wasn't what they were expecting to happen. And it's been a big question, hasn't it? Since we saw Lola Sio go down injured, James O'Connor come into the squad. But they're reporting that Tom LYNAGH is going to be the man to start at 10 for the Wallabies. What an amazing moment that is. Like, in terms of the history and his family surname and his dad as a Wallabies legend, if he gets a go. I'll be honest with you, I just wondered whether, I suppose there's a few things. On the one hand, it makes loads of sense because he's been part of the squad. He was capped last year, I think, wasn't he? He doesn't have too many caps, but he's been part of that squad now over kind of the Joe Schmidt era, or his period. And you want someone that has been involved in the training squad up to this point. Like, the idea that they could have gone with maybe a James O'Connor or someone that hasn't been involved in all the weeks of training perhaps would have been a bit far-fetched. I just wasn't sure if they would go for him in terms of his experience. I'll grab this bench up here. So that was the reason that I thought, is there a chance James O'Connor comes into this squad? Because he's got bags of experience. He played against the Lions in 2013. And so would you just prefer to go for that kind of experienced head that can try and guide the game, that's going to keep calm under pressure, like what a lot of these players experience at Suncorp on Saturday is almost going to be unlike anything that many of them would have experienced before, but James O'Connor is one of those players that hasn't experienced that. So I wondered if they go with him. Seems like it. Maybe he'll be on the bench, but Tom LYNAGH, he's been good in Super Rugby. What a story for him. He's earned that spot. Young guy, go out and just prove everyone wrong. Prove everyone that thinks, oh geez, he hasn't got too many caps and is this the right call? Prove them wrong. Great opportunity. I wonder whether they would go for Ben Donaldson as well, who's kind of the middle ground between O'Connor and LYNAGH, and that he's a bit more experienced. He covers 15 as well, but I wonder whether we will see him at 15, so then you've still got that more experienced second playmaker. But Tom LYNAGH in line to start the test series for Australia at fly half. What a story, what an opportunity for him. Now, the other thing that is a possible talking point here is the Lions back row. Now, I named my Lions Matchday 23 in the video that I posted yesterday, so you can go and check it out. I went for Chesham at 6, Conan at 8, and then Van der Fleer at 7, and Ben Earl on my bench to cover all of the back row. I go into more detail in that video in terms of kind of explanations why, so go and check that out. But have any of you seen this? Woke up this morning, I had this screenshot sent to me of the Lions in training, and you had Chesham, Conan, and Jack Morgan. Are we completely overreacting and looking into this way too much? Well, possibly, but is that going to be the back row then for the test series? Have we been given a little glimpse there of maybe what Andy Farrell and co are thinking, which would be fascinating? I mean, look, the back row, and I said it in the video yesterday, is so ridiculously competitive that there's going to be some unbelievable players that miss out. And that is just kind of like the reality of this team, like a Pollock or a Van der Fleer or a Tom Curry. Like, someone is going to miss out who's an unbelievable player, but they've got so many great options. But could it be Jack Morgan? Be awesome if it was. And it's one of those things that, like, for those of you that agree with me and will put Van der Fleer at 7, fair enough. For those of you that disagree and will put Tom Curry or Jack Morgan, also fair enough. They're all such good options. If it's Jack Morgan, it would be awesome for a few different reasons. Firstly, because there'd be a Welsh player in the squad. Now, you obviously don't stick one in just because, but for a nation that has such a history and a pedigree in the Lions jersey, I think it'd be wicked for him to be part of that team, and he'd deserve it as well. But what would it be? Like the first time in 100 years a Lions test team wouldn't have had a Welsh player in it or something if he's not involved. And I also feel like he's been battling away for so long with his kind of regionally and with Wales to get that recognition of being one of the best players in Britain and Ireland. I might be about to get soaked by one of these sprinklers, by the way. To get that recognition, I think it would be wicked. I think it'd be so cool for him. I think he's had a really good tour as well. He's obviously a major threat at the breakdown for the Lions. And I just wonder, I think you still go either Pollock or Earl on your bench, don't you? Does that mean that it could be Van der Fleer and Tom Curry missing out? But I get the impression that Andy Farrell really likes Tom Curry. So yeah, what is your Lions back row? As I say, I'd have gone Chesham, Van der Fleer and Conan. But is Jack Morgan in line to start for the Lions? And on the note of back rows, actually, before I forget, because I keep forgetting to mention him in the videos I've done the last few days, Ian, the Northampton fan who said hello to me in Adelaide Airport, it was awesome to meet him. He thinks Pollock is going to be coming off the bench in the Test series and having a huge impact. So he might be biased, you can be the judges of that. But I appreciated him saying hello, and if any of the rest of you are out here covering the tour or watching the tour, then do say hello if you happen to see me. It was good to meet him. Pollock off the bench. I've gone for Ben Earl. So that is the news of the day in terms of Lions and Wallabies potential team news. We'll find out exactly what the deal is on Thursday. But looking at the series more generally, how important is it that we get a really competitive Test series? It's been a tour that's been awesome to be out here in Australia, great to cover, and it's been slowly building, more fans coming out, and that's only going to increase like by an exponential amount over the next couple of days here in Brisbane. But it's a tour that's felt like it hasn't quite sparked into life yet. I think in particular because the tour games haven't been all that competitive. We haven't necessarily seen all of the Wallabies playing in those sides. And then also just even from the Lions point of view, they've won games, but it's been a bit scrappy. It hasn't been particularly entertaining rugby. So given that we're a few days out from the Test series, I am here praying that we get a competitive, compelling series. I think if we get to the end of this tour and we've had a 3-0 or a Test series which hasn't been all that entertaining, even like what it was in South Africa 4 years ago, where the rugby itself wasn't all that great, the matches weren't that compelling, obviously it was COVID, so that had a big impact on it as well. But if we get to the point at the end of this series where we haven't had a compelling Test series, I just think it might all feel like a little bit of a letdown, won't it? So I hope we get that. Are we going to get that? That's the question. How do we see this first Test going? It's a tough one to call. So how do you see it going? How do you see the Test series playing out between Australia and the British and Irish Lions? It's a really funny one because the Lions are favourites. Coming into the tour, I would have expected the Lions to win. But the closer we get to the Test series, the more that this tour has rumbled on, the more question marks there are over it. And on the one hand, I think, have the Lions just been holding back here? The Wallabies have as well, but have the Lions just been holding back, and then they're going to go into the first Test, they're going to blitz them, they're going to get the win, and it will be full steam ahead to potentially winning the series? Or is it going to be more competitive? Because as this tour has gone on, the more and more I've thought, you know what, the Wallabies could do it here. And I don't really know why. They didn't look that convincing against the Fijians. But I look at the team that they're potentially going to be able to name, and I just feel like they should be quite competitive in this series. And so what's the best thing for the Test series? Is it that Australia win the first Test? Because that then sets it up really nicely, and we know the quality the Lions have, and we also know that the Lions will continue to get better as this tour progresses, as they're able to train more. Like by the second, third Test, I think they'll be getting better and better. So I don't know, there's part of me that thinks the Wallabies are going to steam into Suncorp and are going to just throw a cat amongst the pigeons and blow this series wide open. Personally, I actually think that's the best thing for the series. Even though I'm English, I want to see the Lions win. I think for the series, that might be the best thing. Is that going to happen though, or is that just wishful thinking? And then there's an element here that we don't know. The Wallabies we've seen once, they weren't that convincing. The Lions, by their own admission, have been holding things back ahead of the Test series. So who is going to win? What's the series going to look like? Anyone else have a better idea than me? Because right now I think it is almost impossible to call If I'm to stick my neck out, I'll say the Wallabies are going to win the first test, but quite frankly, the Lions could win it comfortably because we know the quality they have and we know how much Australia have been struggling. So let me know in the comments. I appreciate you watching this walk and talk. Lovely day here in Brisbane, absolutely loving it. Middle of their winter is unreal. So comment down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.